Welcome to Otherworld. This is Jack Wagner. I'm reporting live right now from LAX International Airport, about to get onto a flight heading towards Chicago, Illinois. In the last episode, I talked to Sean Johns and Gina about many things, but very specifically something there at the end that piqued my curiosity to the point that I decided maybe it was best if I went and I interviewed them in person. So that's what I'm doing. This will be the first Otherworld interview I've done in person. We'll see what happens. This is going to be episode 11. The title is Obscure Gods, and you're listening to Otherworld.
Yeah, let us know when you're ready.
Okay. This is a story about.
All right, so if I'm being completely honest, when I finished that original Zoom call with Sean and Gina, I did not know if I was going to have a use for it. I did not know what to think of it. After 3 hours and they start talking about gnomes, I just had to stop. I had to evaluate. And what's really surprising to me is to then find myself in Chicago, sitting in my mom's empty apartment, waiting for Sean Johns and Gina to arrive in person and to go meet them downstairs. By the way, my mom was not home, and she doesn't even know that these two came over, so she might be finding this out for the first time. So, Mom, sorry. I did have 2 Romani psychics over to talk to me about gnomes and possession. Thank you, Mom, for letting me stay at your place. Anyway, I really didn't know what to think of all of the gnome stuff. I've said on this podcast that it's my goal to keep things grounded because I'm hoping to expand people's beliefs. But there are some exceptions. And one of those exceptions is when I simply want to hear a man named Sean Johns talk about gnomes. But if I'm giving a more serious answer, I think it's important to look at a lot of these things with cultural relativism, which is essentially something in anthropology that says you can't study another culture from the perspective of your own. You have to study it according to the rules of the culture you're learning about. And I think that's really important because Sean Johns and Gina are absolutely living in a different universe than most of us. I've talked to this man a lot, and the stuff that he's doing on the day-to-day is not even close to what most of us are doing. Everything that they learned growing up, it's so different than what most of us are used to, that the way they move through the world, it's the same world, but they experience it very differently. So that's important to consider going into this. But that being said, even with all of that, when Sean Johns did explain the gnomes to me a bit on the Zoom call, it did start to make more sense. I was able to kind of understand it. So I thought it would be important to play a little bit of that before going into my in-person interview.
So, the whole thing of getting rid of something like that is...
I'm so sorry to laugh, but this is such a major plot twist.
Yeah.
No. Oh, man.
Because people think, they're so, you see them in yards. You see them, people love them,
There's a lot of obscure religions. Early on, we're talking around medieval times, people would worship these gnomes. And they would give them things. A cake, something like that, and then it gets bigger and bigger until they finally ask for your firstborn son.
This is so wild. We need to do a whole... I need to process this.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Right.
People, there's weird people out there. There's people who are Vikings still and who worship Odin. It's a thing. And people's
And
gonna
it's
find...
like, whether or not there's a gnome, it's like, if I had to just, like, make some hunches, like,
Yeah.
there might not be a gnome for real, but, like, there might be somebody who's willing to be the gnome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, if I'm walking around the street with $10,000
Yeah.
saying, like, hey, I need to talk to a gnome for
Yeah.
$10,000, somebody's going to show up and be the gnome.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what
You
we're
don't know who that person's going to be.
Yeah.
All right, so when Sean and Gina explained that to me, it started to make a little bit more sense. But like I said, I just really could not stop thinking about the gnomes. I couldn't stop thinking about Sean Johns and Gina. Everything about it, there was just something that lured me to it. So eventually, I find myself, like I said, sitting in my mom's empty apartment in Chicago, waiting for these two to arrive. Sean Johns brought a box of donuts for my mom, who was not home, but we ate the donuts and we sat down for this interview. And one thing that really stuck out to me is that before we started, Sean said to me that up until this point, he was kind of worried that I was secretly making fun of him. But after talking to me quite a bit, he said that he realized I was taking him seriously and trusted me. And so in this conversation, we talked about some of the things we discussed before, but they gave me new details, things that they kind of held back before because they weren't sure what to make of me. So in this interview, we're going to revisit a few topics from the last episode with new details. And then eventually, of course, we're going to be talking about the gnomes. So anyway, let's get started. This is my in-person interview with Sean Johns and Gina, and I hope you all enjoy it. You
Alright,
told me the story before.
All right.
You were very scared telling me it the first time. I'm sure you're going to be the same, but
Well, I'm not in the house now, so now I could tell it more freely.
okay. Oh, you were afraid in the house.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just, when you talk about evil things, where something evil lived, you're just giving it more power again. The whole thing about when you alleviate something is you take its power away. So why give it more power? If you would have came to the house, I would have showed you the exact spot. It's just this white figure with this, like, I can't explain it, like these claws, white claws, and these bright yellow eyes, almost like a very big almond shape. And I'm just like, I went crazy on the game. I'm just going to sleep. That's it. I didn't pit it together that, oh yeah, it was the demon lady. It was, you play Call of Duty for 10 hours. Let's see how you're thinking.
You were looking under your couch and you saw this?
Yeah, so like, so the way my house is set up so you can't see, it's like, you're in the kitchen and you look to the right, you can look in my living room. And then in the living room, I seen underneath the couch.
How far away were you?
I have a small house. It's about like, how many feet you think that wall is?
15 feet.
Yeah, about that.
And so you look over and you see, can you describe it for me one more time? Is it furry?
It's like not furry. It's like white and flowy, but not flowy like how a robe flows. It's hard to explain what it, but when you see it, it's fucked. Like it had hair. It had long gray hair. But the body, it's hard to explain, like, all right, Black Phillip from The Witch, the bottom half. Imagine that, but kind of white.
Like a white billy goat.
No,
almost.
when Black Phillip came. Oh, yeah, Billy Goat, yeah.
Like almost like matted hair.
Yeah, something like that. It's
And it was white. And
Yeah.
how big?
like the size of a dude. Yeah, underneath the couch. So,
Was it laying down
yeah, laying down underneath the couch.
and looking at you?
Yes. Like dead on.
I thought-
looking.
I figured I imagined this like the size of a dog.
No, like the size of a dude.
And it had claws.
Yes. So, I didn't pay it no mind. I'm thinking I'm crazy. You're
How long did you see it?
like 5 minutes. I was drinking my water. I was like, yeah, whatever. Well, in case it is something, you got to understand that you can't give it power to be scared of, even if it is. Like if a ghost walked in the house right now, this house, don't look at it. Don't pay it no attention. Don't give it fear. Because entities that want to take over your house, it kind of sounds kind of like sexist, but they'll go after whoever the head of that house is to try and make them go crazy. Because, like, are you close with your parents?
Yeah.
Okay, if your dad was mad in the house, guess what? The whole day is ruined for the house, right? You attack the guy who's, the head of the house and makes everybody's days bad. They feed off of negativity. They feed off of your misery. So then after that, that's when some dreams started happening. And they were really in depth, like your dare dreams. I'm in hell, I'm getting tortured. Then one night I have this dream where it speaks to me. And the way it showed itself to me when it was speaking was in a black voidless form. And it was telling me how it wants me to be depressed and how it wants me to feel bad and how it wants to potentially make a home here with us.
Did you ever see The Thing again? I'm really caught up on what you saw, especially after finding out that it was the size of a man. I don't know. It was like a furry man-sized creature.
Yes, pretty much. So I know it sounds crazy. Like, this is what I'm scared of, like, being made fun of on the internet.
No, I'm not. Like,
So I was the one who seen it. Also, my sister seen it, my mother and my nephew, like I told you last time.
You're skipping over major aspects right now. When did they see it?
Okay, so like I told you when...
We've talked, you've told me this before, so...
Now, like, about my other thing where I sell cars.
Yeah.
A lot of the other inventory is at my mom and dad's house. So I'm, working on stuff there. My mother, she had a client come in because she's also a psychic. And she seen it come to the front door in her office and walk around. Then my mom asked, what's going on? So then, we was telling her, and she's like, all right, whatever, you'll get it done. Then my sister seen it in the microwave. Not like getting microwaved. I'm talking about, like you see the reflection when you put something in. She's seen it behind her in the reflection.
And how did they describe it?
Same exact way. White thing. Gross almond-shaped eyes. Claws. Weird. It's hard to explain it. It's like this weird white flowy hair. Like white gray, It's just... Like, I wish I was good at drawing.
Yeah. But does it stand like a man?
It stood like a man. Everything was a man except for the body. It's like, I wish there was a way I could translate this. But imagine this disgusting, evil vileness into an entity. Whatever that is for you, but imagine it white. It wasn't like a life-altering thing. This is normal stuff for us.
Yeah, that's the weird... I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to do this interview, is that how normal this is for you.
It was just a normal thing. It was, okay, we got to get rid of this now. Mom was like, all right, do your job. Everybody I've known has had a haunted house. You got to understand that my brother's married to a psychic. My sister is a psychic. We all have stories. And, the whole part about the work is we like to keep that a little bit confidential. Because if you mess it up, you just messed it up, and then it makes the job harder to get done. But it's time-consuming. It's a lot of work. It's not mystical voodoo type stuff. It's, you pitch yourself to know that you're in a place of power over whatever could harm you, and you need to believe that fact. And then, you bless your house with holy oils and water, and you rebuke it out, and it will leave. But how could I explain it? Once you have something evil in your house, you always have the chance for more things to happen if you're not secure in your faith. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So, I don't know what part you want me to go to next.
Well, what work was she doing?
So it's a lot more complicated. because it's something that has been passed down for centuries. So it's sacred. And this isn't stuff that necessarily, you can read a book on. This is passed down through generations. So it's work, but it's second nature. So I can't really give details, but essentially very close to what he was mentioning is blessing and purifying the space, but in our own way.
So I don't think you would tell me it anyway, but did you figure out its name?
Yeah. I won't say it.
Not my mom's house.
I won't say it, not in your mom's house. I'll give her that much respect. Won't do that in her house, but yeah, I confirmed all the information that I went there to receive. And after successfully finding that out, I was able to disperse it relatively quickly after that.
Do you think that was successful in getting it out of the house?
Oh, it's 100%. It's out of the house. The only things we deal with now is when people bring weird stuff in that we gotta dispose of. And, it's like a hiccup. That's it. You'll have just a little hiccup in the house. And then it's done.
Well, yeah, I don't think I realized that these people are coming to your home.
Yeah,
that's very different, especially given the context of what you've told me before.
Yeah.
And what I think you're wanting to talk about now is the people come into your shop with weird stuff, you've told me. With weird, and we'll get to the weirder ones. I think you probably know what I'm thinking about right now, but
yeah, for sure.
We'll save that. But people come, you have a shop where you guys are psychics. People come in there with all sorts of problems they want help with.
Oh, yeah.
What is that like generally? And are there any that stick out?
Yeah, you're always going to get some kind of, strange cases. And sometimes, some don't have any merit. Sometimes people are sometimes they want to believe that something is happening. So it just depends. But most days it's light. Most days it's, just some younger, generation that wants to come in and do it for fun and, seen it.
Like TikTok witches.
Yes, the TikTok witches.
Is that a big problem for you guys?
It has been, I'll say. Not huge, but in the whole representation for what I do, it's a big problem. And I don't think it's spoken on, very often.
It's just making it seem like a joke or?
Oh yeah, completely. And also they make it seem so easily attainable. And they also don't know what they're doing, quite frankly. And of course, if you want to pick up some tarot cards and do it and try, of course you can try. No harm in it. But there are certain things that are dangerous because what you're doing is you're opening yourself up spiritually to things that you don't fully understand. And unfortunately, a Google search isn't gonna get it. It's not gonna give you fully what you want or what you're looking for.
So it's pretty much like this. So who invented the tarot cards? It was, when you get that image of psychic, it's the lady with the head wrap, the long earrings, and the tarot cards and the ball. We perfected it. We invented it. And our information isn't open for anybody to get. Now, I'm not talking about, powerful Wiccans or anything like that. I'm talking about the 16, 17-year-old kids who go on Witch Talk. And they start messing with pendulums, and they start inviting these things to speak to them. You don't know who you're asking to speak to you. It's like, do you remember chat lines? We're from the 90s. Remember you would call in? It's like that, That's basically it. You don't know who you're calling.
I've had more than a few clients come in, him speaking on the pendulum thing, with pendulums. And usually they're on their neck or usually it starts off with there's a problem and there's something wrong. Things have drastically changed in their life. And we start going over the details and trying to figure it out. And it all ends up leading back to them purchasing or starting something. And the purchase ends up being a pendulum or a strange artifact or something they bought from an antique shop or something around that nature. And quite literally, everything will start to perish When you're opening the door for it to speak to you, and that's what a pendulum is. So it's like, oh, yeah, you ask it yes or no for the people who like don't fully know what it is. You swing the crystal around and you ask it a yes or no question and it answers it. So crystals themselves don't have power to answer questions. And that's what people don't know when they buy it. That's not their thing. They hold great energy, great power to whatever crystal it is, depending. And that's fantastic for that, but it doesn't answer questions. So when people use it for that nature, it's not the crystal answering it, it's something else. So it becomes something where, again, you're letting something in, and that's how it enters in, by you accepting it. And once you continue to go back to it, and I literally had a client come in and it was deteriorating her.
TikTok has brought a lot of this stuff into popularity. What are the things do you think people should be aware of?
So where we live in Crown Point, it's everybody wants it to be more haunted than what it is. It's not that haunted. So you got guys who's going to this place. It's called Gypsy's Graveyard. I hate the place. I think it's racist. The story gets me mad. There was a band of gypsies who came through, and they didn't let them go into town. They all caught a flu and died. and they all got buried in the back of this field. And you got people going there with Ouija boards. And one of my friends told me somebody went there and just busted a bunch of tombstones. That's fucking around and finding out. That's the stuff. Like, people think that it's fun during this spooky season to mess with stuff. And I've been alive for only like 30 years. But people are messing with the paranormal more than ever right now. And they don't have they're not smooth with it. They're in your face. They want to go and use a Ouija board in a cemetery and bust the headstones and go to the supposedly most haunted place in Indiana and try to talk to the spirit. You're fucking around to find out. And then they come into us and they're shocked that weird stuff happens to them. It's just, why are you putting yourself in a place like this? So we was just in Annapolis recently. It's where they imported and sold a lot of slaves. It's where Kunta Kinte was. I think he was sold there, or was that just the port that he got brought in at? It's, when you have these places that's supposed to be somber, and you got somebody eating ice cream and a live band in that spot, nobody has respect for what things are anymore. And it's getting worse because you got guys who just want to go for clout and say, oh, we're going to pee on these gravestones. It's funny. Like, it happens at the Gypsy's Graveyard a lot. Somebody went and they salted it just now. It's like, why? Why are you disrespecting a place that was a tragedy? Because people were uneducated to what my people were. And then you go and you disrespect it till today. They can't have peace 100 years later. Like, it's just stuff like that awakens things. So maybe it was haunted, or maybe you upset something to make it haunted. It's people don't think like that anymore.
I think it became part of this, like, underground culture. Like, people thinking like it's this cool niche thing to get into. Like, let me be this. Oh, like the Wiccan. That sounds cool. Who doesn't grow up seeing witches on Hocus Pocus and like everything. Yeah, and seeing that and idolizing it. I did, as a kid, and I loved it. I loved seeing it, and I wanted to be one of those girls. And obviously, coming from our background, I fully understood what that meant. And people, like I said, they see this and they do it as a trend and not as a full lifestyle, or even as a problem, because it hasn't always been easy, this road.
I only have seen things from the perspective of somebody who just hears stories about this stuff, but it seems to me that anytime somebody gets on a Ouija board for fun, it ends bad.
Yeah,
I've heard-
that's never a good
Is that
ending.
probably the worst thing to mess with?
If you had to pick one, I'd say probably that, because and it's also funny because I feel like spirits and entities have gotten used to that specific object and found it to be more useful for them. So I feel like they kind of worked in unison. Like it got more popularity with people and for the spirits themselves as well. They know that that's a way. You know what I mean?
Wasn't it a game from like Mattel or one of the big companies too, or did it have
I
a
think
ancient?
so. No, I don't. I honestly, I don't even know what the origin was, but I'm pretty sure it was just a game, a silly game that they thought they'd come up with. And oh, this is cute for the Christmas season or Halloween season.
But what about it is dangerous? Like, what aspect is dangerous to you?
So, what makes anything dangerous, but specifically Ouija boards, is because again, you're asking something a question that doesn't answer it itself. Whatever it is, plastic or wood, whatever it's made out of, doesn't have any powers to do that. It's not its job. So obviously, going into those type of environments, they want a spirit, and they're calling out to it directly. So that's what makes it so much more dangerous, because like the other objects, they don't necessarily know, right? They're unknowingly doing something. With this, you're outright doing it with all in full intention to contact something. And what happens is like a lot of people will think, oh, I'll get in contact with my grandma that passed, or loved ones. And it's a great concept. But when you're opening up a portal that's essentially unprotected or unfiltered, what demons do best is disguise themselves as other things so you can welcome them. That's what they're good at. Because obviously the normal person doesn't know the difference between one spirit or another. They're not going to understand. They think that the shoulder that got touched when they were in that environment was their deceased loved one. And they won't understand that it's something way more sinister than that. And that they just invited something in to their life that is not good.
Well, I'm gonna try not to laugh, but why don't you talk about the thing that I was laughing about before, even though it's not funny?
I was telling Jack about this after we did the Zoom call, and it blew his mind. So people worship garden gnomes.
That's a real thing, people.
Now, it's not like you go to Lowe's and you buy this gnome and it's automatically haunted. There's a history of people worshiping gnomes for years. What was it before Christianity? It was paganism. People's always doing something weird. You look at the folklore through Ireland, they thought fairies were real, Well, let's put it to a sense of, we covered that if you open up gateways, that something will come in and be what you want it to be. So it's the same case as a gnome. I'm not saying that the garden gnome, you should run away from it.
You keep talking.
So,
I mean, when you first told this to me, that's where our original conversation took a turn, because I was like, you almost told me it in like a complaint. You were like, people keep coming to the shop having worship gnomes, and now they don't want to worship it anymore.
So,
and you have to deal with it.
All right, so it's the stupidest thing you could ever do. I do get mad at it because it's insanity to me.
How do you start worshiping a gnome?
So what you do is you buy the gnome, and
Well, of course you buy it, but why would you decide to?
It's less more like no one ever goes into it. I'm sure there are, of course, but most people that come to us, it's not that they did it intentionally. That it's more so that they have this, and it's like, oh, it's passed down. Like this was my, mom's, and I got it from an antique shop, like random things like that, and then they'll notice something wrong. And that's usually how it starts. So it's not necessarily they go and buy it and do this. It's more so like it's like it's something that they've acquired somehow, some weird way. That's usually how it starts.
But for the gnomes, they worship the gnome.
Yeah, so for the people who want to sit here and say, well, this is what I'm going to do. So you make it offerings, little fruits, little food, stuff like that. Then it's going to start coming to you in your dreams. And it's going to say, hey, I like that. You know what I would really like? A chocolate cake.
Is this something that's actually you've talked to somebody about?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you people who I know who did it.
Not hypothetical.
Oh yeah, because it's a thing. This is a whole on thing. All right, so I'm gonna tell like how you do this. So like come to you and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I want a chocolate cake, and then you give it your cake. Then it'll come back. Oh, that was nice. What do you want? And then you say, I'd like some money, and then business deals are gonna start working for you. Basically, it's like a honeypot on steroids. Honeypot is like when a witch attracts good vibes and good, prosperous business stuff for you. This is basically the same thing, but evil. So then the asks start getting bigger and bigger. It starts with food, and then you're making money, whatever you want it to be. If you want a Corvette, that Corvette, by some weird way, is going to be affordable in your budget, and it's going to be in your driveway. You want money? Yeah, cake for money sounds like a good deal. Then the asks are going to start getting a little bit more bigger. So pretty much once you're done and it exhausted you, you have all the money in the world. But what it usually wants is your firstborn child. That's when people start freaking out. And then that's when they come to us. Because they obviously don't want to get rid of they don't want to offer their child to this entity. No, I'm not saying it's going to come with like a gateway from Rick and Morty and snatch you into a dimension. It makes your kid kill kill themselves. So I knew a family. And so it's like hard to know, like, if you don't know how our culture works, how to explain it, right? So they wanted my brother to marry their daughter. And, like in our culture, like, you go and, hey, let's see this family. Let's see if we could make it happen. So I'm a kid. What am I like? 13 maybe at the time. And I open this door and I see like 5 hutches, from the top to bottom filled with gnomes. With, food in all of them, oranges, bananas, stuff like this. And these people were disgusting rich. Now, we're talking about like mid-2006. Their son had a Trans Am WS6. Parted out, 600 horsepower. And at the time, 600 horsepower was money. And the other son, he had a straight-up Z06 Corvette. They're spending $2,500 a day just bullshitting around. Like, these guys got cash. So then, after a while, their oldest son ended up hanging himself. It got what it wanted at the end. And these people, they don't have nothing anymore. Nothing. So it's like a cautionary tale of, we're not saying that the gnome itself has a power. But if you give something power and open it to be that, it will take its power.
Yeah, so I had distant relatives that it's gonna sound so ridiculous, fell upon a gnome. As one does.
Sounding ridiculous.
Yeah, as one
Way
does.
Past that. They fell upon a gnome.
So the story is that they bought a home or rented it. I can't remember directly, but it was a long time ago. They went into their new home, and when they went in the basement, they seen, it just happened to happen. Someone left a gnome. And they said, okay, well, whatever. And it started decorating their home and, making it into a home. And at the time, they were starting a family. I think they had a few kids at that point. And as they started to go about the process of putting the home together and doing all that and fixing things up, they started to hear voices. And as they heard voices, they noticed it was coming from the basement. So, they found themselves going there to try to see where this is coming from. And they realized that it was the gnome, oddly enough. But these people are also spiritual people. So they can recognize, they know it's not, they're not going to be like, oh, this is ridiculous, we're crazy. They realize that there is something, they know. But oddly enough, instead of doing the right thing, they choose the wrong path, which is to communicate with it and to start to present it with things that it wanted. So just like my husband was saying, was food.
Is that what they generally want? Food?
It starts off like that. Yeah. So what it does is it starts off with smaller offerings, and as you fill its appetite, literally and figuratively, it starts to want more, because I guess it just sees it can get away with more. So it'll, like I said, want food, and you'll provide it. It'll want a bed, you'll provide it, or they did in this instance, and they just kept giving it. And similar to what Sean was saying, the amount of money they were making in their businesses was obscene. Everything was booming at the same time. And, it was crazy. Everything was successful. Everything was great. Everything was going their way, 100%. And this went on for probably a year, maybe more. And I mean, they had everything. And the gnome, I hate even saying it, the gnome was essentially, it wasn't enough anymore. The treats and the food and the making it into, giving him what he wanted, desired, was not enough. And he kept telling them that he wanted a wife. And they kept saying, okay, yeah, in time, sure. Like, trying to appease it. And they didn't get him a wife. So got angry. And he started messing with the kids that were in the home. So they would notice things happening, and the kids were getting scratched in their sleep. And they had a newborn baby in this time period. And it wanted the baby. And they tried to reason with the gnome. And there was no reasoning. That's what it wanted. And it wouldn't take anything else. And again, things started happening more intensely until they eventually picked up and left the home, and then never heard from it, seen it again. But then their life went to absolute, it went down the toilet. Everything, they lost everything in that time. Everything.
Are these like folklore stories or
No.
real people you know?
These are people I know. Like these two people we talked about are people I've known that I've had dinner with.
Like the people, the story I just mentioned, that this is a distant family relative that happened to.
And when we're talking about gnomes here, because when this was first mentioned, I was laughing a lot and starting to lose my mind. But when we're talking about gnomes, like, do you think it's actually a gnome, or is it like?
It's not a gnome.
Is it like the call center thing where somebody is at the other end?
100% correct. It's like the Ouija board.
A demonic presence is going to, again, because you're opening up to it, or again, like I said, like in that instance, in that story, this is something they came upon. So somebody at some point did something or used it for that intention, or possibly it just presented itself in that possession. Because again, like what entities will do are sometimes put themselves in things like that, but most of the time it's because someone put them there. But most of the time you won't know the origin of who did it. It'll be long gone, and by the time it gets to you, it's your problem. And that's very much what it was in that instance. Yeah.
So my sister has a really funny story about a gnome.
I cannot believe how much gnome information you guys have.
Because it's like it's just this thing that started happening a lot more.
And people come to your shop with gnome problems too?
Yes, they because you got so much information now out there in the world. And there's, a lot of people who don't want to worship God. They want to experiment. It's a part of being a thing. People look into Buddhism or whatever they want to do. It's America. You can do what you want. And they'll say, hey, this sounds like a tight religion, Let's try it out. It's more like folklore, It's like for that type of person. So the story we have another one is, it's hard because I don't want to tell our clients' business. So pretty much we had this gnome, we picked it up. And it was talking to us. And
You've talked to a gnome.
I didn't talk to it. I didn't give it the time of day.
The gnome was talking to you.
Yeah. So,
You never mentioned this.
Now we are.
well, because because now, I was scared that this wasn't a podcast. What your type of humor is. Like,
You
find
thought I was
that,
just making fun of you or something?
yeah, I just wanted to be 100% sure you wasn't
No.
doing that before I actually talk. So we had this client who was like, hey, come pick this gnome up. So we get it done. I got out of the house. It's in my car. And, it's not like I did this smooth, I threw that shit in a garbage bag, and it's rustling and you hear it like trying to talk. So I'm passing over a bridge at the time. Oh, my sister's with me too. I forgot to put that part in. And we just throw that shit out the window. That was it. Well, you're supposed to throw it at a place where somebody crosses over water. And all right, this is the thing. And, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm tough, that I'm the Arnold Schwarzenegger of paranormal. Throw that shit out the fucking window. It's talking. It's like that. All right,
What was
throw
it saying?
Basically, it was trying to say, help me. It was trying to be cute. It wanted another victim. But, it
And you could you hear it like
it's more like, imagine something in a garbage bag muffled up. It's this like faint, like help me, and then you hear little rustles and all right. So like, we do weird shit all the time. It's like it's like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but paranormal. That's really it. That I don't want to sound, but that's pretty much what it is. So you just see weird shit. You get used to it. Like last time I was at a funeral, me and my cousin go to the bathroom. Guess what? The lights turn off and the door starts shaking. Nobody gave a shit. It's stuff happens. We're not scared of it that much, but you're still scared.
was seeing the white thing like the worst of it for you, would you say?
It's just the white thing was personal. He wanted me. It wanted me to do something to myself. It wanted me to kill myself. That's really what it wanted. Now that I know, you're not like gonna make fun. It wanted my death. Because at the end of the day, it could have. Because all it takes is to make somebody miserable enough to do it. And it could have done it easily if I wasn't so strong in my faith as a Christian. Like, I'm sorry to get so religious and stuff, but, if you don't have that mentality of knowing that no weapon against you will prosper, you know that it won't. So, yeah, the white thing was one of the scariest things, and all the other stuff is just, fun. It's just a day out. Like, when we got rid of that orb, it was just another Tuesday, It was just, all right, let's get rid of this, and then we're going to go to Texas Roadhouse after. That's really what happened. It was like, yeah, okay, on the way we'll stop here, we'll get rid of it, and then Texas Roadhouse. Remember?
Right. Yeah.
It's just a part of life.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you one more thing. I think a good way to end our conversation is just to talk about, like, we were talking about TikTok and amateurs and things like that. So I was wondering, like, for just amateurs, your basic civilians, like, what are some basic things they should know, do, not do, type of, like, first aid of spirituality and protection? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, what's some bullet points?
Yeah. So I think number one, lesson in general for anything is just, don't mess with anything that you don't fully understand. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from all of this. I think even the stories that our personal family have dealt with, at the end of the day, just don't mess with anything that you don't fully understand. And so I'd say Ouija boards are just, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. If you do want to get in contact with a loved one, seek out a medium, seek out a professional. If you do want to get a reading, tarot card reading, or, something like that, go to a professional. If you want to get crystals, if you want to get things, I always tell my clients that if you need anything, let me know and I'll source it for you, or I'll be able to give you information about what you're looking for.
Okay, don't fuck around and find out. Pretty much. Don't, if you think your house is haunted, don't go buy a Ouija board and try to talk to it. Don't buy pendulums unless, you're about that Wiccan religion. Don't buy it just because it's fun. Respect what it is. Don't go to cemeteries on Halloween and scream on top of your lungs to show itself, because you're going to come back home and it's going to show itself. These things aren't toys. It's not fun. It's not like, it's not playing with an action figure. You're playing with a being that's sole purpose in life is to deceive you, is to make you feel alone, is to make you miserable. None of it is fun. So, go on a ghost tour. Yeah, it's innocent and it's fun. But in the ghost tour, don't be stupid and make fun of it and call it out, and don't be shocked if you get a little bit haunted.
If you ever find yourself in a position where you feel vulnerable, if that's in a home or an environment you're going to be in, I have people that work in cemeteries. I have people that work in hospitals that see a lot of death or around a lot of that. So I always say that to use blessed material. So I do that myself for them, and to make sure that it's not affecting them. So whatever it is around them can't touch them, can't get near them. I have a lot of people that get haunted from the environments they're in. So I think the biggest thing is, even if you're not out looking for it, is to find a professional that can help you to detect the environment you're in and to assess it and to make sure that you're protected from it. Because a lot of people can't leave that environment. A lot of times, like the home that they live in that they bought is haunted. And so the thing is, the biggest takeaway is seek out a professional.
On that note, thank you guys so much for coming on and talking to me in person. This is really great to meet you, and thank you so much for talking.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going? Are you Gina's sister?
I am, yeah, I'm JC.
I'll keep this quick, but I just wanted to ask you, do you remember anything, a time where something happened to Sean and Gina involving gnomes?
Yeah, I do. Believe me, it's funny, the gnome thing, but listen, it's so crazy, it's real. I mean, especially back in the day, I used to hear so many gnome stories. I remember she came back. Let me think. She came back. I remember she was freaked out. It's like she's seen a ghost, And I was like, "What happened?" Some lady wanted cleanse your house. And I think the lady said, here, take this with you as a gnome. And the lady said, take this with you. So Sherry, then they're like, okay, fine, we'll take it. Took it with them, they put it in the car. Wind up is, I think, Judy told me they were listening to music. And I think it was over the music, this gnome was saying help. Like screaming help. And I think they thought one of them were saying it, like, why are you guys saying that? You understand? Why are you guys screaming? Why are you guys yelling? They freaked out, they didn't know what it was. I think again he said, help, like screamed. And again they looked and it was the gnome. So they freaked out and they drew it, opened the window, drew it on the highway, broke it. And yeah, I mean, I guess the lady, I think she knew for a fact something was going on with that gnome, and she tried to give it to them, put it on them. But I don't know. You know, I don't know what she was thinking, if she knew, if she didn't know. But a lot of people do that, because that's the only way to get rid of that stuff sometimes, you know? You gotta either give it to somebody, or you gotta, what's it called? You gotta break it, or you gotta put it on fire. I just remember Gina was shaking up.
Okay, so you remember this.
We have a word in our culture, so I wrote this out of cuss. I don't know if they told you that. But it's what you look for, you find, you know? And a lot of people, some people want gnomes because it brings them good luck. Everything you want. But it costs us something. It always costs us something. But some people are okay with it. You understand? But yeah, man, it's crazy.
Otherworld is executive produced and hosted by myself, Jack Wagner. Our theme song is by Cobraman. The soundtrack of this episode is by North Americans. Editing and engineering by Theo Schaefer. The artwork for our show is by Cul-de-sac Studios. Once again, this is an independent show, so please show us your support by subscribing, leaving a 5-star review, and telling your friends. If you want to follow us on social media, we're at OtherworldPod. If you or somebody you know have experienced something paranormal, supernatural, or unexplained, you could send us your story at stories@otherworldpod.com.